Hello everyone, welcome back to Despicable Maine. In today's video, we're addressing a specific case of a kangaroo court covering up the theft of 3 guns from a police evidence room. This man stole 3 guns out of a police evidence room, got caught 7 years later, and is still not gone to court for the theft of the 3 guns. Anyone else would have been immediately arrested, had to post bail, that's if they was lucky enough to even get bail, and they would be required to appear before a judge immediately. But because this guy is good friends with the police chief David Winchester and nearly all police and Hancock County court officials, he is simply not being prosecuted. And get this, it is because Daniel Joy is a member of the Good Old Boys Club, and this just how it works in Kangaroo County. It is obvious what they are attempting to do, because they have done the same thing many times in the past. Let me explain. When a member of the club gets caught with a serious crime, you only see a small write-up in the local Ellsworth American newspaper, which is run by the courthouse, if you don't know. But get this, they never quite get around to actually charging the member of the club. You can tell that by the small article about the member of the club that has minimizing the crime, and you never seem to hear anything about the crime or court hearing again. What the Hancock County Kangaroo Court is doing right now is waiting for 5 years, so hopefully everybody has forgotten about the incident and then have a classic kangaroo trial, which Hancock County is famous for, where during the kangaroo court proceedings, the charges will be further minimized, so no jail time is warranted and only a small fine imposed. This will be followed by another small article in the Ellsworth American newspaper minimizing the crime. This court is intentionally waiting 4 or 5 years to prosecute this man, and it will be a 100% kangaroo court proceeding with likely a fake juror to guarantee the results. One thing Hancock County Court is famous for is using fake jurors, especially when they're prosecuting one of their own. If you don't know, kangaroo courts like Hancock County routinely use a fake juror as jury for person. How they do this is simple. When these kangaroo courts want to persuade a jury, either way, they pick the absolute stupidest jurors possible and then have a fake juror as jury for person. This fake jury for person is a master in manipulating the stupidest of jurors to obtain the desired results. The use of the fake juror as jury for person was confirmed by jail trustees working in the courthouse. The trustees observed the same individual as jury for person on multiple trials. The same exact pattern of misconduct has been observed multiple times over the years. As we all know, all men are supposed to be created equal. There are 2 classes of people in Maine. You have the elite. These are the people in government. In Maine, they call themselves the Good Old Boys Club, and the law as written does not apply to them. And then you have the masses or the peasants, which will always be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. So let's dig into this misconduct a little further. This is Daniel A. Joy. He has lived in and worked for the town of Bucksport, Maine, in one capacity or another since at least the 1990s, and at one point worked for the police department as a patrolman. Danny Joy's stint as a patrolman ended when one day, while on patrol, he wound up smashing out a window of his patrol car. Word around town was he accidentally locked himself from the back of his patrol car with a 14-year-old girl he persuaded to have sex. Default Text Girl's family found out and was very upset with Danny Boy Joy. Danny Boy trying to get a little from a 14-year-old didn't go over well with the girl's parents. Get this, Danny Boy Joy's friends in the Good Old Boys Club, which in actuality is the organized criminal element of Bucksport, Maine, quickly settled out of court for an undisclosed sum of money. After being shit-canned as a patrol officer for that, Daniel Joy became Bucksport's part-time animal control officer and then later dispatcher for the Bucksport Police Department, which, as it turns out, is one of the most corrupt small-town police departments in the entire state. How crooked is Bucksport, Maine? When Bucksport had a paper mill, the town was charging something like $3 million per year in property taxes for 25 acres of land, the mill shut down and left due to this blatant greed. What does Bucksport, Maine government do to make up for the shortfall? You would think make the city more active to businesses, but no. Bucksport, Maine government decided to buy a whole bunch of new police cruisers and hired several more police officers. Today, Bucksport, Maine doesn't really have police. They have a gang of predators posing as police. Their job is not to protect and serve. Their job is to arrest and convict the peasants and to protect the members of the Good Old Boys Club, which is now nothing but organized crime. Danny Boy Joy's days as animal control officer and police dispatcher ended in November 2020 when Danny Boy was caught stealing 3 rifles from a police storage unit in July 2013 and then later selling 2 of them. This whole thing started in 2013 when a local person turned in the 3 guns to the police department, saying they didn't want the weapons in their home. In 2020, some 7 years later, they asked to have them back. In 2013, Danny Boy Joy did give the person a receipt, then took the 3 firearms that were surrendered to the police department storage unit. Danny took them into his custody as an employee of the police department and later took them home and later sold 2 of them. Danny Boy obviously never expected the person to show up with the receipt 7 years later. Suspicion quickly arose when another police department employee couldn't find the guns in the police storage unit or any of the mandatory paperwork showing what had happened to them, so an investigation was started into this matter. The investigation resulted in Mr. Joy charged in October 2020 with 1 count of Class B theft because his items stolen are firearms. A conviction on a Class B crime in Maine is punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a fine of $10,000. Problem is it is impossible for Danny Boy Joy to get a fair trial in Hancock County. He is good friends with Police Chief David Winchester and nearly all police in the county as well as Hancock County court officials themselves. Daniel Joy was scheduled to appear in Kangaroo Court on the charge in January 2021, according to documents filed with the Hancock County Criminal Court in Ellsworth, Maine. Since Danny Boy is a member of the Good Old Boys Club, he did not go to any court hearing in January 2021. As a matter of fact, he was never been arrested or booked into jail for stealing the 3 guns from a police storage room and selling 2 of them. Can anyone say double standards? If you or I stole 3 guns from a police storage room, would we be arrested? You betcha. You or I would have been immediately arrested at the time and likely given absolutely no bail, and if you did get bail, it would be very high. Remember, these double standards according to who you are is not only real but it's everywhere in the United States. In Maine, it is just the way it is. This is an in-your-face example. It goes to prove just how corrupt these people really are. To them, it's just normal everyday procedure. Now let me tell you how this is going to play out. Either Danny Boy will never go to court, and it will quietly be dropped, or he will go to court 4 or 5 years later after everyone has forgotten and given a kangaroo trial with a fake juror if necessary, a slap on the wrist fine, and then a small write-up in the crooked Ellsworth American newspaper. Just the fact that these people all know each other is reason for a change of venue to a different county to be fair, but since fair trials do not exist in Hancock County, Maine, you don't have to worry about them wanting to do that. The facts are, David Winchester and Daniel Joy are all good friends. In classic kangaroo fashion, David Winchester declined to comment on the case and instead directed all questions about the theft to his associate in the district attorney's office, Matt Foster. Foster stated he did not have detailed information about the firearms but said he believes they are all .22 caliber weapons and aside from that are nothing particularly special. Foster said that they were turned over to the police department by someone who didn't want them in their home. Only one of the 22 rifles has since been recovered, but Joy later sold 2 of them. Foster said the district attorney plans to review the case further and might file additional charges or amend the felony theft charge before it's presented to his good friends on the grand jury. This is a classic cover-up. And those who are familiar with bucksport and the police corruption would expect the person or that family who was asked for their guns back to be targeted. This type of retribution is normal for the area. The Hancock County Court is totally kangaroo corrupt. This court uses kangaroo misandry, double standard judges. It uses kangaroo misandry, double standard district attorneys. It uses court-appointed lawyers that work directly for the district attorney to convict you the easiest way possible. Keep in mind, this is a court where the secretary of the district attorney has the powers of police. Yes, people in Hancock County, the secretary of the district attorney can file charges against somebody. But here we have a district attorney who is refusing to do their job. This is called nonfeasance. The district attorney is willfully not prosecuting this man because he is a friend. Maine is not the way life should be. All men should leave the state to avoid being a repeat victim. If you found this video informative, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening insights and despicable tactics used by Despicable Maine. Thanks for joining us today.